Howdy YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Gunman Raw. So today we have a full respray to do the masking stage on. Yeah, let's see what we can get done in half an hour, because that's about how long I get on one of these videos on my Raw channel. So I'll turn that off. I won't put you guys through the pain of having to listen to my music again. A few vids ago it was getting a little bit loud. I actually didn't realize how bad it was until I uploaded, but yeah, sorry about that. I won't be doing that again. I'll just turn it off. So I hope you've been well. I have. I had a great weekend. Yeah, it's what did I do? Bit of stuff in the garden. Tried to figure out a few things to fix on the Tirana. I'm really happy with the work that I did on that Tirana. It's like, wow, I even impress myself sometimes. I look back on it but like, it consumed me. Like, I could not rest until that thing was done. Basically, like every night when I'd be sitting in bed, sometimes I'd just look at photos. I'd just sit there and look at photos of the work that I've done, just sort of like analyzing it, and just, I don't know, it was, like I say, I was obsessed with it, and it consumed me. So yeah, maybe for the better or worse, I don't know. But I tell you what, it was a big feeling of relief when I realized it was done. Yeah. And to be honest, I guess it's still not completely done yet. Like, I guess those kind of cars, there's always something that you can do on them. The current thing that I want to do at the moment is the fuel gauge, because that's not working. And I got a new fuel sender unit. I've tried mucking around with the what is it they call, the earth, I think they call it an earth, that lead that goes down the bottom, but I'll get there. I'll figure it out. I've got what is it, a 10 litre a 5 litre can of petrol in the boot, just in case I get stranded. But I've been probably filling it up too often lately, because I did run out of it once, because the gauge doesn't work, and I was like stuck in traffic there one time. But now I've been filling it up every week, and it's taken like 10 or 12 litres, and it's like, I didn't need to fill that up. But yeah, just put 98 petrol in it. I put a new carby on it relatively recently. I think it's called a Weber 38, or a copy of a Weber 38. Whatever that means. Doesn't really mean much to me, but it's a double barrel carby. So yeah, it does go a bit harder, but it wants to stall like down low, like on low revs, right? When you put your foot down, if you put it down too quick, it'll choke out and sometimes stall. Definitely worse when it's cold. Yeah, like it doesn't happen that much really when it's warm, but yeah, lately I've just been letting it warm up for 5 minutes before I head off, and that's basically what the guys said at the carby shop, like the place that I bought it from. They just said, man, you might just have to get into the habit of warming it up before you head off. So it's not that big of a deal, because I don't really drive it during the weeks anymore. Like at the start I did, when it was new and exciting. But yeah, honestly, it's as much as a fun ride it is, there's just something about modern cars which, yeah, on the daily, it's just, yeah, you wouldn't. I mean, I could daily it, but yeah, I just much better off in a more modern car. Everything's just tighter. That's the conclusion that I came to in new cars. Like, everything is just tighter. The steering's tighter, the braking's tighter, the engine's tighter, like everything's just tight. Alright, let's put a strip of paper. So another full respray, we're just absolutely smashing out. This one here, it came to us in primer, with a few patches in primer. We did have a few repairs to do here and there. But yeah, it only came in at sort of like on Friday, like, you know, it must have been like, say, around 10 o'clock on Friday, and here we are at about 11 o'clock on Monday, which would be, yeah, like, well, one day, like 8 hours, and we're already in the booth masking up. So yeah, we are killing it. Me and my man Shi Jun, nearly at the point where it's like, man, me and him could just absolutely kill it if we had our own shop. That's the point that I'm at. So Shijun, he's amazing. Like, he's a truly amazing person. So what he's done, right, because I think about it, like I think about trippy shit, like I analyze my life and shit like that when I'm lying in bed, right? And I'm like, you know, I think about things and my experiences, and I'm sitting down, I'm like, man, that guy. So what he's done is obviously he's seen the opportunity he has to learn from a good painter who's willing to teach him, being myself, right? And he has just copied me, right? He's just been like, if I do what he does, I will be good. And how can you knock that line of thinking? Like, it's genius, nearly. So in 6 months, that's him out there sounding that bumper down. So in 6 months, he's come from average, you know, I wouldn't say above, I wouldn't say below, just average prepper, right? Not bad, not bad, definitely not bad, but just your average prepper. He's turned himself into basically a clone of myself. So, yes, he doesn't know as much as me on some things, but his prep work, I'm a bit of a masking elitist, so I like everything to be a bit tight. His masking's pretty good, but it's not quite as tight as mine. That's one area that, you know, maybe a little bit more room for improvement, but at the end of the day, like, he'll get there. I have lots of faith in that. But yeah, he's basically turned himself into me. And it's like, he is a really, really fast learner. You know, like, I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and this guy picks it up first time. Like, you will literally have to tell, like, one thing that annoys me is repeating myself. I don't know why. It's just my thing, right? It's frustrating. I don't like having to say the same thing to people again and again, because at the end of the day, like, if I'm gonna open my mouth, I open it for a reason. When it comes to work, right? Like, I don't just sort of say shit for the sake. I don't like say shit for the sake of saying it. I do that on my YouTube channel sometimes. You probably noticed. I talk a bit of shit, but yeah, if it's work related, like, yes, I am saying it for a good reason. So yeah, my point is that with Shijun, you tell him something one time, and you will never have to say it again, and that suits me just fine, you know. Because, yeah, some of the people over the years, you just give up with them, you know what I mean? It's like, man, I've tried to help you. If you won't help yourself, there's not much more I can do, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it can get frustrating managing people, and I've said for a long time, work is the easy part of work, and it has been for me for a long time. Yeah, work is the easy part of work. It's managing the egos and the people and all that bullshit that goes along with it. That's the hard part. But I don't have that here, so that's good. I did actually move shops about 8 months ago, but at that point, I think I was a little bit, I don't even know what to say, but I just wasn't confident in myself as much as what I am now. Like, I did lose a bit of confidence when I came back here to Melbourne. Life wasn't exactly how I left it, I guess. You know, it looked the same, but it's definitely not the same. I guess, yeah, in hindsight, you can't just go and leave a place and then expect it to be exactly as it was when you left it. But, you know, yeah, people change, places change, in a way, I guess. But yeah, either way, I sort of took a bit of a hit. It wasn't what I was expecting, I guess, when I came back to Melbourne. So, who knows what I'm freaking talking about, man. But yeah, that guy, Shijun, absolute gun. He's going out on his own, and he wants me to come. I'm thinking of it, but I do need a certain amount of money per week, because I'm got 3 mouths to feed and bills to pay, so I need sort of to be very confident that I'm able to make X amount of dollars, or it's not going to work, you know. Of course, you know, you can do a few months of setting up, but sooner or later you're going to have to start seeing that cash flow positive type thing. But in saying that, I've put myself in a good position. Like, over the last 10 years, like, I'll tell you the story. Story time. So when I moved over to Perth, it's kind of a cool story actually. When it nearly sounds like one of those motivational speeches if you could turn it into one basically. Okay, so I moved to Perth in 2012, and when I got there, I had $500 in my bank account. When I left, 10 years later, I had 2 houses and, you know, positive equity in some of them as well, and a good YouTube channel and a family. So, like massive, like, and like I moved over there as a smoker, a drinker, someone who would dabble in drugs, you know, off and on. I guess I don't really need to get too much further into that. It can be personal, but turn my life around. And you know the reason or the way that this YouTube channel actually started, right? I was a binge drinker, right? So I wouldn't drink every night, but you know, every other day or every other night I would drink. I was always a happy drunk, right? And then it did start getting to the point when I started to get aggressive, and I was worrying myself. I got to the point where I was worrying myself of what I might do. You know what I mean? So I knew I had to stop. And even when like talking about drugs, even with the drugs side, I would never take drugs when I was sober, right? So you have a couple of beers and it all sounds like a good idea all of a sudden, doesn't it? So you lose your inhibitions. So that's why I knew alcohol was the one that had to go, right? And even being in Perth there, being away from my bad influence friends, and I'm not blaming it all on them because it's, you know, we're bad influences on each other, if you know what I mean. So it's not because of them. No, it was just one of those factors. But yeah, so the way this YouTube channel actually started was when I stopped drinking, I had all this extra time on my hands. And I had actually wanted to, it must have been 2014 when I did actually start the YouTube channel, which is nearly 10 years now, so that's pretty impressive. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And yeah, I had wanted to start a channel since 2009. I used to watch Refinish Network. I don't know, he's sort of, I don't know, he might still be around, but to the best of my knowledge, you sort of let it go, because, I don't know why, but either way. I always looked at his channel, I'm like, man, I could do that, eh? Like, I reckon I could do something like that. So that was my inspiration. Shout out to Jimmo. He's the, and to be fair, like, I actually never really watched much of his stuff. I just saw what he was doing, and I'm like, I reckon I could do that in my own way, you know what I mean? And for better or worse, I actually don't watch much other spray painting, panel beating content on YouTube. I told that to one of my mates, and he said, well, you know what, that could be a good thing, because it keeps your stuff original. You're not like a trend chaser, you know what I mean? Like, I do my own thing. So, yeah, that's it. Basically, after quitting drinking, all that time I had on my hands, I'm like, well, I may as well make that YouTube channel. So I guess the inspirational part of that is, like, get your life in order, and it's amazing what you can do. You know what I mean? When you put your mind to it and you're in the right, you know, mind space, I guess, with all that extra time. I'm just like, man, I've got all this extra time. There's only so many weights I can lift, and because I was getting into weights and healthy and even just doing big rides, and which I don't do anymore, to be honest. I just with all of that kind of stuff, it just got to the point it's like, man, kind of feel stupid just lifting a weight up and down, you know what I mean? I just get bored of it. I've been on and off it over the years, but currently been off it for quite a while. But yeah, who knows, might get back into it one day. So yeah, that's about it. So it's amazing what you can do when you put your mind to it, and yeah. You can change negative things about yourself, basically. If you take one thing out of it, you know, yeah. Yo, oh, hold on. I'm making a little video. I'll come out later, okay? That's what I was gonna get. Bit of thinners, clean up that rubber. Yeah, like I say, we're thinking of starting a shop. And we've been talking, so Xi Jinping's Chinese, right? So I actually think that could be a, you know, some people might look at that and say, oh no, that's, you can't even talk to him properly. I would say, well, okay, we can communicate. We've got the translator, and I'll use it as a an advantage and say, you know, he can sort of target the Chinese community, of which there is a big community here in Melbourne, and we can get some of their work. So I would see it as potentially a business advantage instead of the other way around. And like I say, his work is incredible. Like, he'll do anything you say, basically. No question asked. There's no drama, there's no politics, there's no bullshit. Easy going. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I bought 2 houses. It just happened, and just like I say, you can turn your life around. Like, I still remember saying to my mum, it was before I left, and it was dead set serious. I just said, like, I don't think I'll ever own a house. I just felt like it was just getting out of reach, and that was like, it must have been over 10 years ago. So it was 20. Like nearly 15 years ago, it must have been around then, like, you know, 2010 era type thing. It just felt like they were getting too expensive back then, and it's only got worse. So what I ended up doing is buying in Bendigo. So I spent a lot of time like looking up I got right into finance for a while, and I did like investing in shares and all that kind of stuff. Ultimately, I kind of sold them all out at the moment, but can't even remember what I was going to say. But oh yeah, that's right, rent vesting, that's what I'm doing. So I've never actually lived in my own house, because I like living in cities, right? But you can do this thing where you buy where you can afford, and you live where you want to live. So yeah, like basically I own a house, but it's kind of paying for itself. Like it's neither of them are actually cash flow positive, if that makes sense. Like, they're just sort of paying for themselves. I think, if anything, it might be $100 or $1,000 a year. Like, it's not a great deal, you know. But they've definitely gone up in value over that time. So definitely not complaining. You know, look, you know, I've always got a place that's good to sort of have that fallback, like a nest egg, I guess. Like, if something happens, I know I've got a house that I can sell and still have another one, you know. So it's good. And like I say, it's just don't give up on those kind of things. Like, I don't think I gave up, you know. If I didn't think I was ever going to be able to own a house, but I don't think I gave up. Well, of course I didn't give up, because I got there, didn't I? Yeah, and it's just, for me, like, I was just being a Terry tight ass for years. That's a big part of what got me there. I've loosened up since I came back to Melbourne, because the way I see it, like, I've succeeded, you know what I mean? Like, anything else that happens from here is a bonus, you know? Like, I'm at the point now whereas, like, if I don't mind if I spend my whole week's paycheck every week, or even more. Like, I'll dip into my savings. You know, like I say, I just sort of subconsciously feel like I've made it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, definitely a good feeling. I might just mark it off that line, actually, straight off that sealer edge there. I was going to do a false edge, just like, mate, it's a bit of an old dunger, this thing. If it's your car and you're watching, sorry, it's not in the best. It's got like 233,000 Ks on it, but honestly, I reckon this kind of shit is good. Like, I reckon it's good that, and I think it should happen more often, fixing just old cars. You know, you get all these environmentalists rah about the environment, but you don't really often, well, I don't really listen to them. I don't even listen to them at the best of times, because I just think they're kind of lost it, and they just want to tell other people how they should live their life while they'll do what they want. They're basically hypocrites. But what I think they should even focus on is buying quality things, and when they break down, fix them. Like, surely that's got to be better for the environment, rather than, let's just say this car, you know, the environmentalist would turf it out, buy a new one. You know what I mean? And then preach to me that that I have to buy an EV. And it's like, well, yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. Surely, you know, an extra coat of paint. But on the other hand, I do know that, you know, with labour being so expensive as it is at the moment, it's not always cost effective, you know. Like, what are you looking at? Like $10,000 for a quick respray, something like this. That's most of the way towards a new car. So I get it, like I do get it, but I don't know, mate. This is just the world we live in. I don't have the answers for everything. I don't know, mate. I'm not here to save the world. Like I say, I'm not here to save the world. I'm just here to make it a bit shinier. I didn't start this, and I'm not gonna finish it. I was even saying to my family yesterday, I'm like, man, we all just go to work to buy shit that we don't need. You know what I mean? Like, even me with my Tirana, I'm not saying it's a everybody else thing. That's like, I was reflecting on me and my Tirana. I'm like, man, that thing consumed me for like over a year. And I spent, like, I didn't save a cent in the last 12 months because of that car. Like, I spent over 40 grand on it. Like, oh, no, sorry, over 35 grand. So maybe around 40 grand. I did actually stop counting. But yeah, my point is, like, we all do it. We've all got things we want. And I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's cool. I actually am very grateful for the times that we live in, you know. The abundance and the riches that we have is just insane. Like, I'm probably pretty well read in history and that, and even just the things that you used to talk to about your grandpa. I know it kind of turned into like a trope about the old people, but my grandpa actually did have to walk to school barefoot because he wasn't allowed to wear his good shoes because they were too expensive. He was born in 1930, so yeah, he must have been, you know, 10 years old in 1940 or whatever. He grew up in Gippsland, poor Irish family, but yeah, he had to walk for like a few miles to school, and it was cold. It's cold out. It gets cold out there in Gippsland in winter, like frozen over puddles and stuff like that. That's how he had to get to work, get to school. Sorry, and he was only allowed to put his shoes on when he got to school, because yeah, they're too expensive to replace. And that's only, you know, that's it's a lifetime ago, sure, because he's passed away now, but it's only one lifetime away. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that long ago that people were living like that. So, like, I'm actually very grateful of even just the food that we've got, the abundance of food. Like, sometimes I'll just go down to the supermarket and just be like, this is amazing. Like, it really is. And I've actually seen like some videos of people come from like communist countries, and they don't know what to do when they come into a supermarket, and like they'll come to America or something like that, and they're just like blown away at the abundance of yeah, food. It's crazy. Yeah, I think gratitude is important. We should probably all practice a little bit of it, just be grateful for things, rather than just the entitlement culture that we do seem to have. Also resentment. I don't think resentment is a good thing. Like, those kind of negative emotions, it's better if you can just let go of things. You know, even things that have happened to you in your past that, you know, even if they're not fair, like, holding onto those kind of resentment and hatred is definitely a bad one. I think hate does more harm to the hater than it does the person that you're hating upon. Even if you do nasty things to them, I still think it does more damage to you if you're the one that's hating. Here I'm getting all deep and meaningful. It's Monday morning, mates, come on. Chill, Gunny, chill, just fucking talk about painting. Oh, I dropped an F-bomb. I don't do that very often. That was an accident, sorry. I hope no kids are watching by this point, but they're probably not. What kind of kids will watch the Gunman? Alright, well that's mostly done under the bonnet. Yeah, like I say, I kind of find it hard to narrate my masking work. I always have, like I don't really know. I did actually think of one other thing the other day, is just keep it tight, like I was saying before. Like when I'll throw the bit of plastic over, you'll notice that I pull it tight, so you got less sort of flaps and pockets that little bits of dust can accumulate in, stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful day today, nice and sunny out there today, which is good. But yeah, the other thing about like starting up my own shop, which if I was to do it, it's like, it is so expensive. Like everyone wants your money in this industry. Like I was saying before, you know, to spray a car is expensive, but it's there, you know what I mean? Like, yes, you know, people like my boss here, they have potential to make some really good money, but a lot of that is, you know, tethered to having good employees, you know, because if you just have average, let's just say that's average, the margins drop massively. So I just think, yeah, paying that little bit more for people like myself and some of the other guys that we do have here, is much better than, yeah, just going for average wage, average person, you know. But that's what they reckon actually a big part of Elon Musk's success is. It's his ability to put together a good team, like good teams of the best. Like that's pretty much his the way that he rolls with his business, is that, yeah, he gets the best of the best people. So yeah, I mean, yeah, and again, you know, like sometimes you'll get people when you do things like this, mask a screen up, like, oh, what you do, man? Oh, you're a hack job. And it's like, man, look, I'm here to tell you there's nothing wrong with doing things like that. If you've got to mask something up, just mask it up. And again, like I was saying about prices, you know, no doubt the customer could pay for it, but at the end of the day, we're not going to pay for it, you know. There already are a lot of costs involved, and we can't just be pulling windscreens out. What would that be? Probably, you know, minimum $200 or $300 to remove and refit. What, are we just expected to do that? No. Well, then the customer's got to decide whether or not they think it's worth it, and there's nothing wrong with, like, it's just a paint edge, man. Like, you know, chill. I mean, some people just get a little bit too carried away. Like, it's just paint, you know. It really is just paint. It's not, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not mechanical. It's not like your brakes are not gonna work, you know. It's not like your engine's gonna blow up or something like that. It's just paint. Yeah, we're going for time on this. I've had that before. Oh, about 28 minutes, guys. That's probably about it for this video. I might do another one when I have, I'm ready to put the plastic on. So until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.